Okay. So the difference between sine theta and this thing. What is the difference? Sine theta, it can be negative while theta is negative also. But in this case, you are forcing sine theta to be positive. You see,
Yes, sir.
see, you see when sine theta is positive and theta is positive, sine theta by theta, it will approach 1. Okay. Now on the other side, what you are doing, other side also you are making sine theta always positive when you are approaching from the left hand side and theta is negative. So the graph will approach something like this. Okay. Instead of approaching this point, because it is no longer negative by negative, it is positive by negative, right? When you are approaching from the left hand side.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What this function is equal to what? This is absolute value of sine theta by theta, right? It is root of 2 sine square theta is not equal to sine theta. It is absolute value of sine theta, right? Root 2 into absolute value of sine theta, right?
Yes,
Agreed.
sir.
Agreed. It is not directly sine theta because sine theta can be positive or negative, but root of sine square theta should always be positive. Agreed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now what is the limit?
Theta tends to infinity. Sorry. Theta tends to zero.
Well, theta tends to 0. No, that is the question. And theta tends to 0, what is the limit?
Theta tends to zero. One, sir.
No, it is not one. No, see, what is the point? See, when we say limit of something, okay, when we say limit theta tends to 0, what does that mean? So, for example, x square minus 4 by x minus 2. Okay, what does this
So for
mean?
mod of sine theta by theta,
This one, what is the limit? Limit theta tends to 0. This
it's
is equal to
zero
this
plus
one.
or zero minus.
The limit theta tends to 0 means what? First, 0 plus and 0 minus, both should be same. Then only the limit
Okay,
exists.
okay.
Right.
If
Right. So here limit extends to 1 means what? 1 plus or 1 minus. Both should match, right?
doesn't exist, no, sir.
So it doesn't
If
exist.
uh,
Okay. So that is the correct answer because there is a square root. Otherwise, it would have been fine. Because there is a square root, you are forcing it to be positive. Right. And you are forcing one of it to be positive.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Agreed.
So
You
the
are
answer is root 2 only, no, sir.
it's not root 2.
Okay, doesn't exist. No.
It doesn't exist, right?
So every time
Agreed.
there's a root over the function, we have to take left hand limit and right hand limit.
No, no, it is always that way only. Just that in most of the cases, we don't need to do. Right. But whenever
Okay.
there is a change in sign, otherwise you take any other limit. Okay, any other limit, whether you approach from right side, left side, it is still the same.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in this side, if you are approaching from the right side, left side, it is different. Okay, so here the question is based on that concept only. The question itself is about understanding of that concept. It is like this question only. What is uh, absolute value of sine theta by theta when theta tends to 0? So what is this? This is actually, what does this mean? This means when theta is positive, right? When theta tends to 0 plus, it means sine theta by theta, right? Because sine theta is positive, right? So what is sine theta graph? It goes like this, it goes like this. Right? When theta is very close to 0 and positive, sine theta is positive. When theta is very close to 0 and it is less than 0, then it is negative, right? When theta tends to 0 minus, it's actually equal to minus sine theta by theta, right? So one side it is giving 1, another side it is giving minus 1. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's why this limit doesn't exist. Limit exists means what? So both sides, at any point, both sides, whatever is this, both sides you are approaching the same value. Okay? That means limit, right? At that particular point, the function Might have value, might not have value, that is fine. But at least you can get as close to that point as possible. So for example, take this case, x square minus 4 by x minus 2. What is limit x tends to 2? Here,
4.
it is 4. What does this mean? What this means is, what is x plus 2 here? X plus 2, some graph, something like this. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at 2, there is a hole. Okay, at 2, this graph is not defined, right? So this graph is something like this. At 2, there is a hole. We call this a hole. Right? It is not defined at 2. But you can get to 2 as close as you want. So for example, you want 1.99. You will still have some x, right? You want 1.999. You still have somehow some x where this one will give 1.999. So you can get to as close to as you want, but you cannot, the 2 may be achievable or not, but you can achieve every other number which is as close to 2 as you want. Right? 2.01 you can achieve, 2.0001 you can achieve, 2.000001, whichever you want you can achieve. But in this case, if someone says, right, if someone says, um, as close to that number from both the sides you want to achieve, right? But here, if you call this limit as 1, okay, then if someone says zero point 0.9, for what x this is zero point 0.9, it is not possible, right? From both the sides, you
Yes,
have
sir.
to approach what is that limit within which range this function is always lying between 1 plus or minus, let's say 0.01. Okay, it is not happening, right? So this is that delta epsilon. You would have seen this delta epsilon notation, no?
Yes.
Official definition or formal definition of limit. What is formal definition of limit? If you say the limit is L, okay. So what does that mean? If you say that limit is L, that means for whatever epsilon that you are giving, L plus or minus epsilon, there should be some delta within which x plus or minus delta, right, or x minus, which within the range of this delta, this value of the function is always lying within this range. Understood?
Understood.
Okay, if you say the limit is L, that means this point is L. What does that mean? For every epsilon, okay, epsilon, let's say epsilon is zero point 0.1. That means within plus or minus zero point 0.1. Okay, within plus or minus zero point 0.1, these are these two lines, no? Let's say your limit is somewhere, you are saying 4. Then 4.1 and 3.9. These are these two lines. Okay. Then for some value of this delta, let's say this is happening at x equal to 3. Okay, for some delta that is 3 plus or minus zero point 0.05, right? Let's say for some delta which is around this 3, right? This is 3 plus 0.05, 3 minus 0.05. The value of this function is always lying between 4 plus or minus zero point 0.1. Okay, this zero point 0.1 is called epsilon. This 0.05 is called delta. So for every epsilon, however small the epsilon can be, there should be a delta for which when x is lying between this x plus or minus this delta, the value of the function is lying between these two lines. Value of this function is lying between these two lines as long as x is lying between these two lines. Agreed? As long as x
Yes,
is
sir.
lying between these two lines, the value of the function is lying between these two lines. That is your epsilon delta definition. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the correct formal way of defining limits. Otherwise, informally, what do we say? That it is approaching this number, it is as close to this number as possible, etc. etc. Those are all informal ways. But what exactly is the formal definition is this? That is the epsilon definition. Okay, you got this concept, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So let me get you another question now. This one is done. So after this revision, what will they start now?
Sir?
After this revision, what is the next chapter that they will start?
After this week, from next week, sir.
Ah,
Next week, continuity differentiability.
no, no, but that is first year course. No, I'm talking about second year
Yes, sir.
course.
Second year, they'll after differentiability and continuity, next is integration, sir.
Integration is not done.
No, sir, they started revision without completing integration.
Integration till what point is done? Is it indefinite is done? Definite is done? Till what point is it done?
Sir, indefinite is done, sir. And last, some part is left, but most of it is done.
Okay, okay. So then definite integration and calculating areas and all is left, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Cool, cool. So this is also a similar problem. Just just try this one using just be careful with your left and right hand limits.
None of these.
None of this. Very good. Why?
But because if you do it in normal way, we'll get 1 by root 2. No?
Mm-hmm.
So that is one way. Another way, uh, for 0 plus, it'll be one
What is
second,
right
sir.
hand limit?
0
What is
plus,
left hand?
for 1 plus, it'll be uh, 0 by 0.
No, 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 no. What one